welcome to Canon Podcast, Song Canon Podcast number 2. We've kind of we intentionally landed into a rhythm of a Canon night and then a night of, more like a podcast kind of style. So we can make the most of our time. And so this one's coming right after Easter. So we wanted to be able to quickly get to you guys information about this next upcoming Canon, which is going to take us through halfway through the summer. And then we're going to be like a micro Canon on the back of that. And then we will hit a brand new one in the beginning of the school year. That one's going to be another Canon night. We're getting ready to jump into that. So first off, thank you guys for being willing to come and do this set again.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be awesome. So we're gonna go through some of the music today. Obviously, the new song and some newer songs, and then hit some trouble spots, maybe through some of the stuff. But I wanted to ask you guys first, by way of just thinking back through this last year, where are some spaces that you've seen God moving? What are maybe some shout outs that you want to give to anybody, some people in the volunteers in the band? What have we seen God doing?
I think like shout out wise, for sure. So I feel like we're kind of like half and half now of like people who have been a part of the band for a while and have like fairly new people.
Yeah.
And I feel like the level of preparation has been pretty like high and consistent. Like, whenever we do have rehearsals, for the most part, like people are coming in at least with ideas of where the songs are going and what to do and what they need to do. And then definitely by Sunday, they're kind of ready to rock and roll. And that's been awesome to see from both, the people who stuck around for a while and the people who are new. And I've felt that's been awesome. I feel like one player that really demonstrates that super well is Gavin. Like, I know like anytime like Gavin's playing with me this Sunday, and I know that like he's going to come in knowing what to do, and won't have to like guide him and correct him too much on stuff. So the level of preparation has been awesome.
yeah. I'd like to echo that. I mean, it's been a lot more fun, in my opinion, to get on stage. I think everybody's kind of felt it when you're a little bit more prepared. You can kind of relax and enjoy the moment, enjoy the music. I think that's what's made our worship on Sundays a lot more powerful too. As you can tell, you can just from the audience. When I'm sitting in the audience and not playing that week, I can feel the vibe of the band. You can tell they understand. You can tell they're comfortable with the music. So their worship is being portrayed in the audience, and we've been talking about that's really important, right? We don't want to be a distraction because to the worship service, we want to enhance and walk alongside everybody. I think that the preparation that people have done has helped really enhance that.
Cool. I think just culturally overall, I think engagement, like what again, I think that they just said like this spiritual formation survey. I don't know if you guys took it or not, but we had a lot of people take it. Looking at some of those numbers and stuff, like 40% of the people attending our campuses now are brand new since the pandemic. That number of 528 is probably double.
Crazy.
Because like, we have so many new people just for the sheer growth of the campus, but then also the amount of growth that's gone on, just kind of the church turnover a little bit the same way. And so that's been difficult to kind of like quantify like how are we dealing with this. And so we're really building a worship culture from the ground up. And I've seen it move. I've seen the metric, kind of rise a little bit. And so, because I think I'm like, I hear voices, I guess, when I'm listening, I take the ear out and I'm listening, I can hear people actually singing. For the most part, and it's like, I think we went through like when the building first opened, it felt like we were back to like A, after COVID, B, just so many new people who didn't understand the culture of the church and of worship, or they came from a different worship background, and it just felt, like where is center for us? And I think we're finding center, and we're starting to kind of grow from that, and so it's really encouraging, and I think that that's part of that has been the fact that the band's showing up ready to go, and I can echo that just for you guys. The role of MD has really, I think, changed the culture of the band too, because it's kept me being more outward facing, and me and audience and us and the congregation, and less having to also dual brain thinking about what's going on back here. You guys have done an awesome job of just building trust with the players and volunteers and making it happen. So it's been really cool. Okay. Culture forward. It's been awesome. I would say this. So one thing just for you guys to make note of is we launched the musician development website, and it is we're trying to add to it frequently. So there's like articles on there. There's like some just other videos that aren't our videos, but then also like the videos we're actually making. We did one that was it's like about padding. So it's like when we talk about padding in a service, sometimes it's like if it's not on a chart, I don't know what to do, or I don't know where to go. And then you guys you'll have to be leading through some of those moments and stuff. It just kind of helps. That video walks through like, okay, let's say it's like a call to worship time, so it just gives you like some examples of how you approach that. And so that was a really fun one to make. Electric 2 players, we just put out a video last week, and I'm going to send each one of y'all individually just like some links to that so you can see it. But Electric 2, well, the role of Electric 2, what does that mean? And what's your role? So it's not just to kind of be playing some chords in the background. Like there's a lot to it. And so how to take on that and grow in that role. And because sometimes it's like there's basically a lot of you guys could be playing Electric 1, Electric 2, and you don't know what you're going to be. So when you do show up as Electric 2, it's not a week off to just play chords and hang out.
A really good Electric 2 is like a good offensive line in football.
Ooh, unpack that one, Gary.
Well, like when you have a good solid offensive line that knows their job and does their job, it makes everything so much more fun and better for the offense. The Electric 2 is pretty key.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like to bring in some sports analogies. Makes us seem manlier.
I don't know. Maybe the offensive line is more like rhythm section, but you know what I mean. Like that one like glue guy that makes everything better.
Yeah.
That just elevates everyone around him.
I like this. It's important. Well, just to jump back to some vision about, why do we do Canonite in the first place? Why do we, first off, why do we do Song Canons? Real quick, we do Song Canons because we want to have, if your average attender is coming 1 or 2 out of 4 weeks in the month, we don't want that. It feels like it's brand new music every time they walk in the room. And so we're repeating songs more often to increase engagement so that, people feel like they can be part of what's going on. And so for us as musicians, sometimes it gets like, oh my gosh, like we're talking about this today, and like, are we playing Firm Foundation again? It's like, yes, no, we're not. We're done. Actually, we're taking a break on Firm Foundation. But yeah, we're playing these songs again because we want our people to be able to sing them. And we get sick of them way before anyone in the audience does. Probably. So, but Song Canonite individually, though, is, again, just for a chance for you guys to get around the other people who play and do what you do, to share insight and thoughts and kind of get on the same page about it. And these podcasts are kind of like a digital version of the same thing for like when we're not overdoing it on us on nights when y'all are trying to all get together. And so, anyway, so here we are. Canon Podcast number 2. Quick reminder too, on your schedule, on your December the 31st, there should always be, don't decline it. Some of y'all declined it and have to go in and hit accept for you. One of them was you, by the way. You declined it. You declined it. You're like, I'm out of town. I'm like, we know you got plans. I got plans on New Year's Eve. Well, because it just pops up on your thing. You're like, yeah, I can't do that. That's ridiculous. Well, we get the declines at the end of the year because people look and they go, oh, no, I can't do that. So on December the 31st of any given year.
You're like, this is way too much music.
I'll never do all this. I don't know half of these songs. So the Song Canon lives on December the 31st of everyone's schedule. Actually, if you are getting this and you don't see it on your schedule, let me know because you're supposed to be on it. And so it always will have just like the current list of all the songs we're doing. There's also a Spotify playlist that exists that's always available, and I will link that in the description of this video too. to give you a chance to, you can be rehearsing the songs and listening through as you go. And so just a quick piece on that. But we're going to do, so the new Song Canon, I'm going to just like read the names of all the current new canon so you guys get an idea. And then I'm going to get their responses, their initial responses from this. I don't know why, I just thought I'd do that. So He Who Is to Come, new song. Battle Belongs, Promises, Christ Be Magnified. Who Is Like the Lord, Mercies, Yes I Will, Holy Forever. I've Witnessed It, Behold the Lamb, The Blood. Lord, I Need You, King of Kings, Love of God. All Hail the King, All Hail King Jesus. Nothing else, and Run to the Father. Anything that you've seen on there, you're like, oh, hey, like, look at that.
Some throwbacks on there.
Yeah.
Run to the Father.
It's always a great response.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I don't know if any of those songs have necessarily had areas that have given us problems in the past.
I've got a couple of spots that I'm going to highlight later.
I think the biggest issue, not so much for the newer members of the band, but the older members, is kind of looking at the title, going, "Oh, I know that song because we played it 4 years ago or even longer."
Right?
Is like taking the time to pretend like it's a new song, because you got to refresh your memory on it. So showing up to Sunday morning and just seeing the title, thinking, "Yeah, I'm good," and then you open it up and it's like, "Oh, there was a big guitar thing in there, or a piano thing," and I'm totally forgot about it. So just taking a few minutes, I think, for those veterans, I think is really what's going to be the challenge for some of these older songs.
There's a few of them too that have like updated versions. You know, they're worship songs. So one church will write it and publish it, and then other churches pick it up. You know, like a Maverick City version will be very different than like a Passion version of the same song. So do pay attention to what version we're doing. We'll
try to give those heads up, but yeah, we will. We will tell you ahead of time. We'll be like, "Hey, by the way, this is in Spanish." Like on Promises, without fail, I get somebody. I think it was David last time. He was like, "Are we doing the Spanish version?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "It's in Spanish." I was like, "Oh, no, that's just like we're just doing the musical version of that. We're still going to sing in English." He was like, "Ah, man." He goes, "I thought I was finally going to get utilized." It's like, you would definitely be doing it because it would not be me. It would not even be a speaking in tongues type thing. It'd be bad. Well, let's do this.
Offensively bad.
Well, part of our role too, as MDs, so the two of us and Christy and Sarah is going to be communicating with you ahead of time. Is like, "Hey, this song's coming up. We've done it before, but remember here's the pitfalls," or, "Hey, remember, check this out." So that's going to be part of our role to help you. And again, when we say those things, we're not saying them because we think you don't understand what's going on. We're just there to help guide and to help encourage you. Our part of our role too is to push you, right? Mm-hmm. So if we think you could do better, we're going to give you a little bit more to bite off. And it may be some of these songs that you're really familiar with, and that's the reason why we're asking you to do more. And so, because we want to see the group grow just as much as you guys do.
Yeah.
So we'll keep encouraging. We want you to ask a lot of questions, but when we bring these up to you, either in a text or in a rehearsal, it's strictly because we know you guys can do it, and we want to see you achieve at your highest level as well. So,
yeah, it's a good reminder. I mean, I know that I tend to be like, "Oh, that was pretty good," and it's like everyone in this band is capable of really good, and so that's another reason that I love y'all's role, is that y'all help me to go from, "Oh yeah, that was pretty good," to be like, "Well, what if we did tell them that there is a part for that and we didn't just go pretty good?"
Yeah.
Because again, I think when we play really well, when we nail it, it's special and it feels special, and that translates to the people in the room, and it's worth the extra. It's worth the extra effort. And so, again, that's why we're doing this. Let's jump through. We'll jump to He Who Is to Come, which is the first. It was really the only new song on this list. I think when we did this, I actually wasn't at the Song Canon meeting last time, so I'm a little like, I was in the Bahamas. Sorry.
Working, of course.
Yeah, working actually. Yeah, I was working for a few days.
Is that what you call it?
Oh, it was working. Oh man, I'm gonna put a little clip right here. This is what it felt like. And but anyway, so that was the Bahamas. I will say this: if you haven't listened to "He Who Has Come" yet, I would love for you to just like pause or whatever, hit pause on this, go listen to the version that's on Planning Center, and then jump back into the video, because I'm going to walk through some of these points about the song, and if you haven't heard it yet, it's not going to make as much sense. So. But here, I'm going to walk through some of like the high points of just like the ins and outs, the flow of this song. This song actually I was at Passion 2024. They redid another. I actually love the version they did for Passion 2025, but it's kind of like the version that you would sing whenever you knew a song really well, and then you sang it later, and it's like it's got all this space, and everyone's already kind of invested. And so we're going to kind of begin at the origin story version of it. That is a little more like the studio version that has all the parts, that has all the things. And so that way you learn more, so you can dial back some of it if you want to. But here we go. Let me walk through it real quick. So the intro and the first verses, this song kind of begins with this part that the keys and the electric lead, and on the recording also, the acoustic are all playing in unison together. And I would like to just say, like, let's not have the acoustic do that. Having three people playing the same thing, that's why this is a studio version. That's a high biff factor, to have three people playing the same thing and thinking it's going to deadlock. And I would rather save the acoustic, because the acoustic comes in later, and I think that's another more interesting layer to bring in. But the intro is like electric and keys are playing this one part together. It's kind of like the hook of the musical hook of the song. It's really kind of similar to how The Blood starts, like with that kind of an idea. It's kind of creating an atmosphere. And so
it is like the most important part of the song. So as the keys and the E1, like, you need to really, from a timing perspective and a note perspective, there's no way the two of those people are going to connect if you're kind of questioning your part. So
yeah,
this whole song, I mean, after you listen to it, you're gonna go, oh my gosh, yeah, almost the entire song has this motif through it, right? And so it's a big deal.
So yeah, so locking in on that, big deal. Electric 2 is kind of really just kind of living in, making space behind it. Now, some of that atmospheric stuff will be living in the tracks, and that's cool. But to me, this is an opportunity and a space for an Electric 2 players to spread your wings a little bit, make some space behind this entrance until it gets to the part where where you come in, like in the chorus. So pre-chorus hits, and like all of the kind of ambiance of that kind of dies. It comes down. So we're kind of starting like a mid space, and then it comes down for this pre-chorus, where it goes really down to just piano. So that when the chorus comes, the "He who is to come," when it hits that, piano starts walking these chords, acoustic, jin, 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 jin. And electric is just, the electric 2 is just ringing out these big diamonds. When we say diamonds, that's like just a big open chord. That at the time you're like, what's he talking?
I rehearsed with Tanner. He kept saying diamonds. I was like, what is he talking about? And I just kept playing. I was like, I don't know.
You're like, we're not one of those churches.
I found out later. Yeah.
Big open chords that you let ring out.
Whole
it's almost like
notes,
they're shining. Yeah. It's like shine.
Just on the changes. Just hold on the changes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it goes to the turn, back into the intro feel. We're kind of resetting that space just for a moment after the chorus. And then verse 2, drums and bass kick in. Electric 2. So Electric 2, there's a part reminiscent of these kind of old school Hillsong tunes. They used to always have this like a quick picking electric. That you could do it. Now, imagine when our boosted tracks, we'll have boosted tracks on this later this week. I bet there'll be a boosted track that has that kind of as a piece of it. I'd be interested to see. If not, as you listen to it, I don't think that that's a necessity, but the idea here is like you are bringing the big space for this song. Like you're the dynamic that's gonna move that second verse, because bass and drums come in, they're like locked and moving, and then it's like, here we go. And then the chorus goes, kind of goes up and then that's kind of like a everybody in type moment.
Still have that. It still has the feel though of just changing or moving your chords only on the changes, not adding a bunch of rhythm.
Yeah.
It just adds more people playing it. That's where the volume comes from, right? So it creates the space, but we create volume.
Yeah, that is very true. Listening back to that, so that's the chorus. So again, this chorus is not 10 yet. We're still making our way up there because then verse 3 drops out, and it's literally like vocal, some background kind of pad, and then piano sparsely filling in like little raindrops of the stuff, and there's just kind of a little bit of a distant electric where it's creating an open space. To me, honestly, though, we need to feel that. I think if there were first rehearsal for this song, we need to feel that in the room a little bit and see what that, because this is a studio recording. We need to see if it makes sense in an actual room, and so we'll feel that out. But I'd say come into that anticipating that third verse to feel really kind of empty, because then when it turns the corner halfway through, the last two bars of the 16th note build really takes on, like we're like ramp up and you're going. For that last part.
Well, in verse 4, what you're talking about, if you look at the words, he is surely coming. Oh, can you feel it? And that's when the space is, and it's empty. And then all this tension is growing. It's still empty. There's no sound. And so I think it's creating a musical tension, right? So it's an idea, right?
I love it, yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. We got to kind of feel what it feels like in the room. But if we can create some tension by not playing, that might make those words more meaningful to the audience.
That's awesome. Yeah, very true. But that picks up kind of halfway through. We're building it. We hit a big double chorus. This is 10. This is the 10 moment, like where we've reached, all the way up. It's the apex of the song, and it stays full through the tags at the end. On the second tag, it crashes out on the second hallelujah. It's like hallelujah, hallelujah. And there is this, on the recording, there's this kind of descant that goes out. I don't anticipate us doing that every time. But if it's heading into like a prayer time or something, I could see us trying to use that as an intentional musical space to come and have someone walk in and pray. I could see this being a last song in a set often too. Yeah. So that could make sense. So, any other thoughts you guys had on this song though? That's kind of a walkthrough.
I think too, you got to think about, especially in piano and the guitar, you're going to be probably in unison a lot of the riff, and it's in a lower octave. So you want to prep that way through most of the song. And then when you get to verse 5, that octave needs to probably jump in the piano, and you actually do a full octave in your right hand, and then the guitar, and you're going to add some more volume that way as well, but it's going to change it just a little bit. But that riff, that upbeat, dun, 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 that's going to be in the middle of the piano, maybe on the bottom end, and the same with the guitar. And that's intentional, I think, based on the way you read these lyrics and what the song's about. It's intentional. It's creating that atmosphere. So
no, it's cool.
Count the hallelujahs at the end of choruses. Make sure that we're just counting that change from the 3 to 4 correctly. It's 4/4, so it changes on the 3. I believe the third beat of the count. So we're on the 3 for 1, 2, change, 3, 4. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just count that right, getting those changes down correctly. Because when I listen to the song, I'm like thinking rhythm section wise, it's very straightforward and, like y'all said, atmospheric and spacey. But like my keyword is confidence. Hit those changes big and confidently all together, and that is like where the volume and the dynamics come in. Just confidently, everyone together hitting those changes cleanly. I think for the rhythm section, this is a really good song for just making sure that y'all are tight together. You're thinking of like your mechanics of what you're doing when you're playing, because it's not an overly complicated song musically. So use this song as like a practice to lock in, hit those changes cleanly and tight every time. That's our job.
Well, I think even thinking about that itself is like, that is true foundation for this song. How the bass and drum, like how that locks, that lets all of that other stuff. Like you think about how it goes, dun, 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 dun. All that has to live on top of a very like a solid.
Yeah.
The band is actually creating a musical metronome for the audience. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and the whole song, and it just keeps building more tension as we get further into the song. But that rhythm, it's so simple. Gary's right. It's so simple, but it's really hard to do. To do well. Let me say that way.
Yeah. But I believe in y'all.
We can do it.
You can do it. Or we wouldn't have said it. We might have said it. We didn't say it. So yeah, he who has to come. I'm excited to see. I think this is going to be one, too, where like I think our people will jump in. We'll try to give it a great first date. I think that's something always when we're introducing songs. I'm always thinking like, how do we introduce it the first time? Because that's the thing that sticks in people's heads. Like those really, because we'll introduce a song, we'll do it 2 weeks in a row, a week off, then another week. Those first 2 weeks, I'm like, because that's usually going to be first date for 2 different sets of people. Really making that land, we're really giving some space to that. So
It's the first date and then taking her home to mama.
Taking her home, make mama.
Yeah, and I mean like some of this, you're talking about like verse 4, the third full verse, where it's labeled verse 4 and like the band drops out. Singers have to be confident too, because like you cannot back off from that moment at all. The singers got to be confident, like be up there, clearly articulating those words, and that's, whenever, we're musicians, so like we feel like if we're not, there's like something wrong if we're not making sound, and like we don't want to pull back at all. We want to be, pushing forward and up front and confident in what we're doing.
Well, this verse 4, there is kind of a sense of like, it's like we're going, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, it's almost like a whisper, like, hey, he is surely coming. It's kind of, this song's a little bit theatrical, which I love, would be.
And confidence doesn't always mean loud, right? So I think that's a misconception. So confidence just means that you have support behind whatever you're playing, whether it's an instrument or vocal, you have support behind the sound, right? Volume is appropriate for the song, but the support is there. That gives the confidence that the audience needs to keep singing with you or to keep playing with you, right? So
Awesome.
So that they understand when we're not playing, it's not because we just screwed up and we forgot.
Yeah.
Not because we just blanked out.
Man, it was super awkward and the whole band forgot what they were doing and just stopped playing in the middle of the song.
Dude, I nearly had that moment on Easter. During the 6:00 service, we're doing All Hail King Jesus. There's no lyric monitor. There's no nothing. And I don't know, like there was 2 verses at the beginning and my brain totally found on the first one, got to the second one. And I get a picture of desert, like it's an open, empty desert. That was my mind when it came to this second line.
to do one of these.
No, there is, because there are no words on the screen
there was
either.
none there? Oh, man.
No words anywhere. And I sang something, and it kind of rhymed with this, and it wasn't heresy, and we all, people got baptized.
Didn't talk about it on the Monday meeting, so that's
Oh
good.
my gosh. I mean, I was freaking out. I was like, dadgummit. But at least I did it 4 more times and got it right.
I was in that service. Could tell a little bit. I just thought you had gotten off the click a little bit and we're kind of finding your way back to it. So it wasn't all that noticeable. You figured your way through it pretty well.
Worse. It was me just literally in a like that room in the Matrix where it's just white and it's just you and nothing. That was my brain. It was 11 in that blackness and just standing in 1 inch of water going,
I need words.
oh my gosh.
Lots of words.
It was terrifying. So we're going to quick shout out to our media people who give us words. All right, let's turn the page. So the other 2 songs I would like to kind of fully highlight, maybe talk about some learns on, is The Blood and King of Kings. The Blood was new in our last canon, and so we've gotten to do that a few times. It's been introduced. It's been through all these stages, and it's kind of gotten its own identity. But I thought maybe like for you guys having played that song, what are just some learns from that as we kind of think about that space for that song?
every time I play it, it's the timing issue, right? So again, it goes back to, do you know your part? Do you know it well enough? And are you trying to do more than what you need to do? And when you try to do more than what you need to do, it creates timing issues for everyone else that's trying to do their part. So kind of staying in your lane in this song is important. It technically, like even on the piano and the guitar part, I mean, it's rhythmic, but it's not hard. It's similar to the song we were just talking about, but it does take some concentration. So like, unfortunately, I'm not worshiping very much during this song personally because I'm having to focus to make sure that everything is locked in, to make sure that the people that we're playing for have a moment that they can worship where they're not distracted by these, because the timing creates uneasiness, right?
Right.
It creates uncertainty. They're like, what's going on, right? Do they know their parts? And we don't want to create that scenario, right? So this one I've noticed just keeping it timing. The people that are playing rhythm, bass, good drums, etc., making sure that they are locked in and not trying to do too much. There's like grooves in here that could happen with the drums that could create easy timing for us when you're trying to do too much because it feels you don't have enough notes, right?
Yeah.
So there's some moments there that can make that feel better. But every time I play and every time I listen to it with the rest of you playing it, it's like, sounds awesome. It's just there's this little minor kind of timing ticks that stick out. It distracts, right? Even people that don't know music, it's just distracting. So I would just recommend keep working to lock that in, get really comfortable with your own individual part. Don't try to do too much, right?
Yep. I think, yeah, go ahead.
Except for bass. Do all that you can. No,
It's true on this song. It's really cool.
This is one song that's fun for basses, so...
this is y'all's moment to shine.
I know.
Especially in the last chorus.
It's that one token you get.
Yeah.
You get this one moment.
Eternity.
Yeah, it's true.
I'll tell you though, like for basses, like obviously, like you don't have to overplay. Hit the changes right. But pick your spots. Like if you hear the run going into the last chorus, it just like runs down from a 1 all the way down to the 4 and 4-3-4 at the end. If you want to focus on just nailing that one, do that. There's other little ticks that the recording has, like going into the second verse, there's a octave kind of slide down. Pick your spot, like challenge yourself. If you don't typically feel the freedom to move a little bit, do it. This is a song to try it out on, especially because not a lot of our songs are open and atmospheric with room for the bass specifically to move. So, use a song to challenge yourself. Don't feel like you have to do anything that's too out of pocket if you don't want to.
And as Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So in practice, you should be trying all of it, in my opinion. Like, go for it.
Dude, absolutely true.
Go for it. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we're in practice, so who cares? So go for it, try it out. You go, I actually didn't know it as well as I thought, or I did know it and I got it. Sweet. And then it's yours, right? So go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think there was one time we were playing it. I think it was at Clear Creek. Like we're playing, you get that part at the end of the song, and it's just, I mean, first off, I love this song. It's just like, it's one of my favorite songs. We're playing, and Gary, and I went, it was like, oh yeah, keep singing the song. But I was like, Gary,
there you are, bass.
Like it was awesome, and it was like, but it was because it just the way that part moves and then just lands, it just sticks, and it's like, oh yeah, dude. It just, gosh, it was so good. I think that, so those parts are intentional. Like those parts are written in the song beautifully and intentionally to be able to really connect some of the different sections, like joining the different sections of the song. And so, yeah, do everything you can to really know your parts in this. I think that this one's another one that I think the first time we tried playing it, I don't know if any of you guys were on that week, but maybe it's because we played it for Mixed Weekend. We learned this. It was like if everyone kind of starts from the beginning, just playing, we have nowhere to go, so we need to have some dynamic that moves. And so one thing we had been doing, and we've done it kind of both ways, honestly, is having the electric to not play the harmony part until after the first chorus. I think we ought to do it week by week though, and just kind of see who's on, how does it feel.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it depends on where it is in the set too.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's cool though. Like this song has those pieces that we can kind of like play with to like. But again, if you don't know all your parts, we can't do that. If like your two person doesn't know the harmony part to the E1 part, then we can't do it. You know, we can't even have that as an option. They're just gonna be playing chords on the turns and getting real big when it gets big. So having some space to do that really makes a big difference.
And there's a motif. Sorry to cut you off. There's a
Okay.
motif in the middle of the song where the instrumental part starts and we go into the bridge because it stays
Yeah.
big, right? And it says dun dun dun, and the piano and electric, and I would even say E2 probably is all that creates a totally different vibe. Where Eric kind of talking about we're kind of getting stagnant, I think, with the volume. It just ramps it up another level right there
Yeah.
by all of us changing. We're not doing this upbeat rhythm or anything different. That's a big deal. So if we can get more people buying into that line from that instrumental all the way through the bridges, that'd be solid.
Yeah, it's kind of like dynamically, it's kind of like two songs mashed together because where you hit the instrumental to the bridge, that's half the song, which is not usual. So yeah, dynamically, that jump at the instrumental has to feel different, and then we the vocals jump up at the end of the second bridge, and that's kind of like just that next level, and that's where we're at 10.
That's your 10. Yeah.
Can't just all be the drums doing it. It has to be all hands on deck to make this work dynamically. So
You know, one thing about this song too is that I kind of like it better as when we do it in B as a girl-led song. I think the song overall feels better in that key until you get to the bridge, because it's like there's no way that it's not a girl octave jump song if you're doing it in B. You're kind of already in that space. So one thing we have done is like having like maybe I'll take the beginning of the bridge and I'll sing it, and then I don't jump up either, but the girl comes in singing like a strong harmony of the anybody want to be holy? Right? Just that lets you kind of have that kind of false energy push and jump. So like I like the whole song in B, except for like how, because to me then you get to the real payoff of the song and it's like you don't have it. And maybe it's not true. Maybe some of you guys could jump that. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. But
try.
This song to me, it really does work as a girl-led or guy-led. And, you kind of talk about the first date. We did the song the first time. Sarah did it and did bridge to end in B, and it was really good. It was like such a good first entry into it. She killed it. And then the next week, I did it in the original key, which is G, which we normally do it in E. So I did it in G, kind of knowing that people were still feeling it out the first time. Really too high for it to be as congregational as best congregational, but man, it sounds good in G. And so I kind of did it like we're kind of just gonna flex on y'all a little bit and let y'all feel the song. And then we came back the next time and they did it in E, where I think it's more where people can engage with it best, is the E and B. Anyway, that's kind of like behind the curtain on just kind of like how we brought this one in. And so I think it still lets us have the strengths of the song. When it drops into that chorus after that bridge, I mean, that's like you just explodes. Like that's when Hallelujah is like, yes, like that's the, man, praise God. This is a cool moment in that song. So if you haven't gotten to leave that song yet, I hope you get to soon. It's been really
fun.
good.
I will say, just, as a worship leader, this song is probably one of the ones that does need like a periodic reminder of what we're saying.
100%.
Because like, so especially like Easter, post Easter, like have new people walk in and they're like, what are you thinking about?
What about blood again?
I always thought church was a cult, and now I walk in and you're singing the blood.
Well, it's like, because the verses are super like approachable and like, like, oh, it's like, everything's changed, getting harder to recognize who I was before Christ, and I don't walk like I used to. I've been washed from the inside. What have you been washed with? Blood. It's like, what? Why? It's like, oh, by the way, so here's the deal. We had a savior. We do. There was blood involved. Yeah. So, but I like that. It's like, it's some very common mixed with like, man, this is the foundational truth of the gospel. And so, yeah, but it's right. You got to like, And it only takes a couple of sentences, you know, you just like to be able to do it, but you do need to probably connect those dots. There's another song too that like sometimes like a really strong chorus and bridge can stand on their own and you can use them out of context. This song's better when you're using the verse. The verses really lead you into the then response of the chorus, and then after you said the chorus a few times, then it's like, now let's say the bridge. I mean, it just has such a the way the song weaves together. I just love it.
Yeah.
Really cool. Any other blood notes? The blood. I got nothing.
I'm good.
King of Kings.
Yeah. So obviously piano intro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a piano intro. Now, and this is another one. It's a very simple song that we can definitely mess up very badly.
This is a singer song. This is not a song that you can be thinking of. What's the next line?
Oh no,
Because it's already too late. You know?
Yeah, this is a song. So we first introduced the song during the pandemic, like when we were doing the just recording the services, and I don't know why. Maybe because we didn't have people. Like there was such a limited amount of people in the room, and so we never were able to do this song with like words on a screen or anything. So it was just like we're just doing it from memory. I don't think we ever one took it. It was always like, I mean, you get 3/4 of the way through, and then it's like, I don't know what the words are. It's like, oh, dadgummit, you got to start all the way over. So thank God for our confidence monitor. But but it's also a good time to like. This is a good one to like. Okay, challenge yourself to learn the words and to really, because it totally makes sense and where it's going. You're telling a story, and so. Anyway, it's a really, really powerful song.
Yeah.
Musically, go ahead.
Yeah, the few times I've done this, so singers tend to see that you're on the backside, even kind of dragging when you sing this, because you're wanting to kind of maybe draw the words out, and this one needs to move forward. So, in the darkness, we are waiting. It needs to kind of push instead of in the, if you're pulling back and the band's kind of pushing you. So just kind of getting locked into a tempo there as a singer, I think is important. Because the only thing driving you is just block chords on the piano right at the beginning. So you're kind of pushing that tempo. So setting that dynamic from a tempo perspective for the song. So stay on top of that as a singer. So you're locked and loaded.
That was a Harding subtweet.
What? Locked and loaded?
Locked and loaded.
Look, we have 4 Hardings that sing on stage. One of them always sings on beat. One of them does. we'll say who does and who doesn't.
Don't worry, she's never gonna watch this podcast. I love you, babe. One thing about this song, I think that as soon as you hit the first chorus, I would say every singer. As soon as we hit the first chorus, everyone on stage always be singing. Even if you're doubling the melody, always be singing. I think that it just really helps the theme of the song. I think it's such a wee kind of a tune, and so even if lyrically it doesn't lean in, I think just that has a lot of power to it. Verse 2, bass and drums. There's nothing brand new about like it's very similar actually to He Who Has to Come as far as like where
Modern
things
hymn
happen.
structure.
Yeah, I mean it's like drums and bass come in the second verse, and chorus 2 is established this kind of large march of the song. It's like an audible mob kind of feel. And then verse 3, piano and pad release, and drums build into 16th on the second. I mean, like literally, it is like a similar deal. Opens up into like rolling toms on the second half of that verse, because again, it's matching what we're singing, what we're saying on the lyrics of it too. And that final chorus is just wide open. One thing I was gonna say is on this song, one thing we will probably do whenever we do this at some point during this canon is on the end of it, after those big choruses, instead of dropping down, is go into the What a Beautiful Name bridge. The death could not hold you, veil torn before you. And it's like like that, because those two songs, like the way that the themes and the lyrics of these two songs kind of go together in a Brooke Fraser explosion, is awesome. So that's something we kind of talked about too. So just I'll add What a Beautiful Name onto the 31st on the canon, so that way you can go like, I don't know what that song is. Yes, you do. You just don't know you do. It's good.
Yeah, the one thing musically I'll add, when we hit the final section of the verses, verse 4, and we come back in, we're building in the church of Christ was born. Don't overplay that. Like we are picking it up, but don't over busy it up. Don't push it. Like we still want to be locked in, so don't get sloppy there at the end. That's kind of the temptation, like once you've been building and you jump back in, just be clean, hit those changes right. Yeah, it's that rolling like tom part kind of, but especially something I noticed on Easter was that like our low toms can get really, really like low and muddy. So yeah, if we're just doing too much on it, then it needs to be definitive, not just muddy.
Yeah.
And then this piano intro that happens obviously starts with piano, and then the E1 joins in basically every other time it happens. So just be prepared. It's basically leading into every verse, if you want to think of it that way. A couple of choruses it leads into, but basically coming out and going to every verse.
So it's like piano and E1 are like
Besties.
slow dancing in a burning room every single time we got
That's
a
right.
song here.
That's right.
And I'll just add into what Gary was saying, like, so when we hit that verse 4 and it starts to build, it's just emotionally, it's a big, you want to play harder, you want to play faster, you want to play busier, because it's like, oh man, just because it's such a powerful part of the song. And so it's good to be thinking like, lock together, stay together,
Well, I would
serve the song, serve people by serving the song.
a couple of rehearsal ideas for you too, as you're practicing at home. So one is you always want to watch people that are better than you. So watching these worship bands play, if you notice what they're doing, they're not playing a lot of busyness. They're building by doing volume changes or by where they're playing on their instrument or by adding more instruments, right? So I would try to mimic some of those better players that you're seeing. If you're kind of if you're lost at what to do, like I want it to be busier, I want it to build more. Well, how do I do that? You lean on some of those other worship bands that you see are doing it well. This is another one. Hillsong does this very well. Other things is I've noticed a lot of people don't actually look at the charts when they're learning the song, and I would say probably 95% of people are visual learners to an extent, even if you don't think you are. And so when you're listening, you need to have it in front of your eyes so that again you've got two ways that you're trying to dive into it. So when we're saying verse 4 and you're like, oh cool, and you're just kind of thinking verse 4, you should be looking at it, looking at the words, looking at the chord changes, so you know why we're talking about what we're talking about. Because again, when we're pushing you to do things, there's for a reason. We've done a lot of homework on the back end to help prepare, to make sure that we're guiding you well. So I think if you can really dive into actually looking at it while you're listening, even while you're practicing, it's just going to add another layer of comfortability for you, because you're really going to have it ingrained and know what's going on. But if you're at a loss, I always say listen to people that play better than you and try to mimic what you hear.
Yeah, you reference like voicing. We've talked about it before, basis, but I think this is a good song to think about how you're voicing the chords on your neck. So this song is piano heavy, in the beginning, and obviously really through the whole song. But when piano's driving, their left hand is bass, and so when the pianist is really holding down those bass notes, I like to be a little bit higher up on the neck. But then by the time we get to that verse 4 and that last chorus, there needs to be a lot of umph there. So I'm going to be low on the neck there, and getting the full bassy tone out of my guitar. So that might be one song for you to think about, like through practice and everything. Think about how you're going to voice all these chords, and like you can take each verse and play it somewhere different on the neck, or each chorus and play it somewhere different on the neck. See what works in practice.
I think on the recording, one of the piano motifs, the bass plays along with them. So maybe just see if you can find that and Figure it out. Like it'll force you to put yourself in a different part of your instrument and learn something a little different than just playing the changes, right?
Yeah. Cool. All right, well that's all the songs we're going to walk through specifically individually. We're now going to go into a section I call CUIDADO, PISO, MOJADO. This is caution, wet floor. So it's like the little yellow tents you see. That's like, ooh, watch out. There's some things that like just through some of the songs and here's some common things that I feel like we have missed playing through some of these songs that we feel like we know really well. And so I'll just jump through these real quick. And if you guys want to throw on top of anything, feel free to, but don't feel like you got to. Promises. This is a 6/8 tune. The whole thing's one big tripping hazard for the band because the way, like I think from the outside you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. And then you're listening to the 6/8 click in your ears and it's like, it can feel like three different songs. And so being really cognizant of, if you're just listening to the recording and playing along with that, I would take the time to listen to one of the boosted tracks so that you can hear how it does count the click, because that to me feels very different than when you're just playing along with the song. And so, because that's what you're going to be hearing. You're going to be hearing those count-ins with that 6/8 kind of a thing.
Yeah, especially like songs that are like 3/4, 6/8. If you count, like if you're listening to the song and you're listening to the click, if you count to yourself, there's something in your brain that snaps it into the right time signature. Because we're so used to hearing 4/4 so often. So if you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's just a switch that flips in your brain. Mm-hmm. So maybe when you're listening to the song, listening to the boosted tracks, actually count it out for yourself.
Yeah, it will serve you well. No doubt. So the other song, Yes, I Will. We haven't done this song in a long time. And I feel like every time we're doing this song, the question comes up. Like if you look at the chart for this song, it's a 4/ and then the 1 has like an asterisk next to it. All that's meaning is that it's a pushed chord. So it's 4, 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 5. It's pushing those last. And it's like that for the whole song. It's not notated like that for the whole song. The entire song, it is like that. So
that's that upbeat feel, right? One and
swingy,
and yeah. So that's a big. So if the drums are trying to do too much in there and doesn't set the band up to play that syncopated rhythm, that hurts us, right? So drummers, you need to be thinking about that too. Solid, even time, so the band can get into that groove, right? Yeah.
The only thing it's not, and it's only because it doesn't complete a phrase, is on the bridge when it's like, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. And it goes to 5, nothing can stand against. It holds the 5. Mm-hmm. Everywhere else, the rest of the song, change. Anyway, that's just a simple thing, but that could save one entire discussion at a rehearsal. Another one, Holy Forever. And this will come probably from MDs before rehearsal or just like some kind of conversation we kind of have done 2 different versions. There's the recorded version, then there's like that kind of bass and drums version that changes like the second verse, second chorus feel. So just communicating ahead of time. Both are great. I think using both from time to time would be nice. I would bring up the question, throw it out there on the text if we don't say it ahead of time, which kind of second verse, second chorus feel we're going to do. And the other thing is the break after that, well, I guess it's not really bridge, but bridge. Coming back into the chorus, and the angels cry. We're always out on cry. 4, 6, 5. Like that's the big thing it's always like, what are we going to do? And it's like, it's not 4, 6, 1. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is it. So I think that's kind of what we've landed on that. So that's just the Holy Forever note. As we're getting to Holy Forever, that's a wet floor moment on Holy Forever.
Can we say, unless otherwise stated, it's the drums and bass version?
Sure.
Of the second chorus. So what he means by that is the da 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 da. It's kind of like that, kind of like pulsy version of the second chorus.
It's got really good energy.
Yeah.
I love that. Behold the Lamb. We haven't done this one. It's been a couple of canons since this one's been in there. Only note on this one, the only little tripping hazard on this one is last chorus coming out of the verse 4. It goes to a down first half of the chorus. So it's like, behold the Lamb, the story of redemption written on his hands. Jesus, you will reign forevermore. The victory is yours. Behold. Then everybody rolls back out. We repeat that first part.
Yeah.
Frequently, singers, one of us will be like, behold. Someone will be like, we sing. So it's like turns into a mush pot because we forget that we're supposed to repeat the first part of that chorus again. So that's just one thing just to be mindful of. It's what's going to be on the prompter, but just be aware. That's a common spot. We forget that we're going to come back and repeat the Behold the Lamb section. Lord, I Need You. We haven't done this one in a long time either. Great tune. My only note on this one was on the recording, there is a lap steel. We won't have a lap steel. We won't have a track of a lap steel because it's weird.
What you think?
Yeah. Okay. If someone plays lap steel and you want to do it, then show up with it and I'll see if it's any good. We'll be honest with you and tell you it's not.
Don't tempt me.
But what that does mean, those E1 players, you could play slide. You could just play guitar. I mean, we've kind of just always kind of adjusted around that part because it just doesn't stylistically fit like anything else. It kind of feels like kind of a weird country feel.
Yeah.
This one has been a while.
It has.
It has been a beat. But I know, like we're already, I think it's mid-May. We're at least using a tag of like bridge to the end of this on something. So it is coming. So do kind of, as you're listening through the current canon, I would familiarize yourself with this.
And in that bridge, watch the changes. So 4, 3, 7, 6. Those are just fairly quick changes. So give some time and thought to those.
Yeah, this song overall, it's a lot of chord changes, and you got to hit them on the right time together. Acoustic players, this one's coming for you. Watch out. My last note, All Hail King Jesus and All Hail the King are both in the same canon.
All hail the King Jesus.
So if you see either one on the plan, look at it, ask yourself, is this the song I think it is? Listen to it, because I've had
on
people.
Palm Sunday, I got the wrong one up, and I was practicing, and I was
right.
like, "Oh wait, what are we doing?" Gavin and I both looked at each other. We both had the wrong one pulled up. It was
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a wrong song. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not what we're doing at all.
Yeah.
So just don't prep the wrong song. Basically, that's because it could be either one. I think both of these will get used frequently within this still. So, and what I was gonna say was on All Hail King Jesus. This similarly to what I said about King of Kings. Once we hit the first chorus, everyone's singing all the time. Especially because I think that a reason that there's a disconnect in this song is because it starts one spot and then the lead vocal jumps the octave in the second verse. So it's like, there was a moment when the sky lit up, and instead of just staying where you were. And so I think suddenly when that happens, people are like, oh, okay, watch that guy. Watch him do that. But if it's like someone stays there, someone jumps in there. And to me, what might even make more sense is if when we do the song, a girl takes the second verse, if they're in the comfortable key, for them to do that. Because then it just seems like, oh, I'm still singing where I was as a guy. And now the women are taking this one. Almost like, because it doesn't, but if I jump from here to here, people can go into watch mode. But if no matter what, hit the second verse, everyone's singing strong. At least two people are bi gender, singing dual gender, singing the melody really strong. It helped people go, oh, we together are singing the song.
I'm like looking at my notes, like my annotations in PCO, and I don't understand some of them. So I'm like, this is like the opposite of helpful.
And I know the sound technicians are working really hard to get better at mixing the sound, and singers, as you sing, the better you present the confidence that we've been talking about, right? The more comfortable the sound technician is getting that volume. So when Eric's talking about you taking the lead, well, they'll turn you up knowing that that's coming, right? And so, but you got to have that confidence in that, and know that it's there, and present it, right? And make yourself, you have to be kind of vulnerable, right? Go for it. Yeah. But that's where, again, we start to grow as a band, grow as a team.
All Hail King Jesus is just one definitely to prepare for. Like when we do this full song, we gotta come in prepared. We gotta pay attention to how the second chorus changes, where it starting on the 6th. Mm-hmm. We gotta be confident in those, especially because it's pretty chorus. Like it's pretty chordy. Like the pre-chorus is quick and chordy. Obviously the instrumental and the bridge are pretty chordy. We want to be tight on those. So I would say this is a song to, if you like, budget your time and maybe give this one a little bit more than some of the more direct ones.
I'll say, like, even like you think about the chords of the bridge. It goes that 5, 6, 4, 1, 1 over 3, 5, 6. So it feels like, but it's gonna live on that same march a lot. But if you don't hit that 1 over 3 at the right time, you just lose the whole pocket of the song, and it just and that's like such like a that's like, let every knee come bow before the King of Kings. It's really strong part of the song. And because it drops down to that singing holy.
Yeah. Bassists definitely have to, if you're not hitting that 3 in the bridge, it gets muddied up. There is like a bass run in the instrumental and bridge. You can challenge yourself with maybe, you don't, I think they do it every time or every other time. You can just do it a couple times if you want, or once if you pick the right spot and challenge yourself with it.
Love it.
All right. That's it. We're not going to walk through a whole lot of other stuff. I think that's like that's the bulk of the things we're going to do. So anyway, we're thankful for you guys, thankful for what you give. I would just say a couple of things, like knowing we're going into summer. Give me your blackout dates. I'm going to try to schedule out the summer. Know at the end of the summer, third service is coming. And and for those of you who are there, our last volunteer training deal, think about third service in this way. Most of us are serving one time a month. And so if it feels initially overwhelming, like, gosh, a third service, if you're serving once a month, you look at giving 2 extra hours a month. If you're serving twice a month, okay, worst case scenario, 4 hours extra a month. Of doing the same thing you just did twice. And so it helps us to frame that. And so I'll look at it and go, God has given us a larger team, which has maybe at times felt frustrating recently, because there's like, I want to serve more, I want to be able to do more. Well, God was preparing us for the demand to be higher. So knowing that we would need more of us to carry a larger load. And also I think about like something like the Breakfast Club, like Angie and her team that have been like, just felt called by God to start feeding us and serving us in that way. Wow. Now we've got real food, real homemade food, like every week, so that when if on those weeks you're going to have to serve an extra couple hours, you're not going to be starving by the time you get home at 1:45 or 2. Anyway, really thankful. Be praying. Chris is kind of taking some space and time through the end of May to be able to take some time. He's kind of doing some house parties with some leadership, and I'm going to throw out an invite to you guys to a couple of those if you have the chance. And really, it's just to help people get on board with understanding the why behind some of that. It doesn't seem super confusing why, but like we need more space.
We've all tried to park there.
We've all tried to park, and just to give you an update on that too, like they're filling out that detention pond. The culverts are in there. As soon as that's done, they're going to start pouring concrete. Parking is one thing. We can have parking and still not have room in our services. Third service is going to give us at least some breathing room. the challenge and what we're asking is for families that makes sense for their family to move to 12:30. And so, if you immediately think, wow, that's for me, I could move to 12:30. I'm like, our family's going to move to 12:30. It makes most sense. Teenagers that I got are all going to sleep in anyway. And then my wife, super teenager that sounded weird. Mother of 7 who also can still sleep like a teenager. There we go. Not a teenager. She will. I can edit this later. So
You're turning a little red right now. I don't know.
gosh,
We're going down a path.
Oh, because this will be like the video they watch and go, we should have known all the mirrors. Going to having, making space that 1045 service is what we're after. We got to do it. So, anyway, so that's something you can be thinking about, not only in the way you serve, but in the way you serve by just when you come to church and how you engage in that. So, anyway, all exciting stuff coming. But I'm super, super thankful for you, for how you serve. Thankful for you guys taking time to do this. And if you watch toward the end, you should get a special prize for that. I don't know what it'd be.
I don't know. Coffee mug
Coffee mug
from Wayside.
Yeah.
Wayside coffee mug
Thanks.
for free. Come tell Gary. Come tell Sarah, and they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Totally.
that's it. Song Canon podcast number 2 in the books. See you next time.
Bye.